Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take, a big stack of information, often pretty dense stuff, and we pull out the key insights for you. Think of it as a shortcut to getting really well informed on important topics. And today we're looking at something that's really fundamental to how almost every modern business runs. It's not just helping businesses, it's actively changing them, shaping decisions. We're talking about the power of data. Specifically, our mission today is to unpack the global data analysis software market. We'll cut through the numbers, the projections. We want to distill the most important insights, maybe uncover a few surprising facts, and really highlight the key trends because this sector, it's a huge engine for digital transformation everywhere. And for this deep dive, our source material, the core data, comes from some really comprehensive work by cognitive market research, their insights, their projections. Okay, so let's dive in. Let's unpack this maybe with some big global numbers first, just to set the scene. And the scale might actually surprise you. This market, the global data analysis software market, back in 2021, it was already valued at, get this, $47.176 billion. That's
Right.
billion with a B. But here's where it gets, well, really interesting. It's projected to jump to $72.3 billion by 2025, and then really accelerate, hitting an estimated $169.815 billion by 2033. That's a compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of 11.264%. Pretty strong.
It is strong. And what's really fascinating there, I think, isn't just the raw growth, huge as it is, it's the shift it represents underneath, this huge expansion. It signals this global move towards predictive analytics, even prescriptive, moving beyond just looking back at what happened. Now it's about anticipating what will happen and maybe even getting recommendations on what to do. Every country, or really every sector, is realizing that data itself, well, it's just potential. It's these sophisticated analysis tools, the software, that actually turns that potential into usable intelligence, into competitive edge.
Absolutely. That shift from reactive to proactive, that's huge. Okay, so let's dig into the regions then. Who's driving this growth? Let's start with North America. They currently have a really commanding lead, right? Yeah, the numbers show it. $17.597 billion back in 2021. That's projected to climb to $26.498 billion by 2025, and then hit a massive $60.114 billion by 2033. Still showing a very solid CAGR, 10.782%. But given it's a more mature market, what's keeping it so dominant? What's fueling that continued strong growth?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. That's sustained leadership in North America. It's definitely more than just having a mature tech scene. What we're seeing is a really deep integration of AI, machine learning right into the data analysis platforms. This is especially true in highly regulated areas. Think finance, healthcare. They're pouring money into advanced analytics for things like, well, fraud detection, personalized medicine, really optimizing supply chains, places where even a tiny edge from data insights means, significant financial gains. Plus, the sheer number of skilled data professionals there, that plays a big role too. Can't discount that.
That makes sense. And drilling down a bit more within North America, the United States is, unsurprisingly, leading the pack, projected to reach an incredible $48.35 billion by 2033, just the U.S. alone. But it's not only the U.S. story. Canada's also on a strong path, set to hit $6.9119 billion. And Mexico is right there too, looking at $4.845 billion by 2033. So growth across the board. Okay, let's shift gears. Across the Atlantic now to Europe. Europe's also showing a very solid growth trajectory, consistent. The market there started at $10.048 billion in 2021, and it's expected to grow to an impressive $34.133 billion by 2033, maintaining a strong CAGR, very similar to North America, actually, at 10.789%. So this raises an interesting question for you. Beyond just general digital transformation, which is happening everywhere, are there unique factors contributing to Europe's really consistent performance here?
Europe's growth is, yeah, it's quite interesting because it's significantly shaped by its regulatory environment. You have to think about GDPR, for example. And that's not just about compliance hoops to jump through. It's actually driving demand for specific kinds of data analysis software, tools that offer really robust data governance, things like lineage tracking, privacy-preserving analytics. That's key. So businesses are investing heavily in software that lets them get insights while making sure they keep consumer trust and adhering to, strict data sovereignty laws in different countries. And that pressure, it actually fuels innovation in those specific software areas.
So regulation as a driver, not just a hurdle. Interesting. And looking across Europe, the growth isn't just in one or two places. Germany stands out as a significant leader, projected to hit $7.434 billion by 2033. The UK, also solid growth, $4.564 billion. France is set for a significant jump to up to $3.912 billion. Italy's market rising to $3.154 billion. And then you've got others, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, all adding substantially to Europe's overall strength in this sector. Lots of players. Okay, now, Here's where it gets maybe really interesting. Asia Pacific. This region is, well, it's the high growth powerhouse, no question. It started at $12.785 billion dollars in 2021, which was already significant. But it's projected to just explode to a massive $50.605 billion dollars by 2033. And listen to this, it has the highest coverage of all regions, an astounding 12.159%. So if we connect this to the bigger picture, what is happening in APAC? Why is it such an outlier in terms of growth speed?
Yeah, APAC's rapid expansion is like a perfect storm of factors, really. You see, unlike maybe more mature markets in North America or Europe, many countries in APAC are kind of leapfrogging the older IT systems. They're going straight to cloud-native, AI-powered analytics solutions, skipping steps almost. And then there's the explosion of mobile-first users. Just massive numbers, especially in e-commerce, social media. And that generates unbelievable amounts of unstructured data. We're talking text, images, video, loads of it in real time. This creates this huge demand for advanced data analysis software that can actually handle that complexity, derive insights from messy real-time streams. Because frankly, the traditional business intelligence tools, they just can't cope with that kind of data volume and variety.
All right, the leapfrogging tech combined with that sheer volume of new data types, okay? And within APAC, China, as you might expect, really dominates regionally, expanding to a staggering $16.168 billion dollars. But here's a standout. India, you mentioned high growth. India has the absolute highest AGR in the entire global market, 13.08%. That's remarkable. Projected to reach $7.591 billion dollars. And it's not just them. You've got other key players like Japan, $6.913 billion dollars, South Korea, $3.74 billion dollars, Australia, $2.48 billion dollars, all seeing big growth. Plus, crucial digital hubs Singapore, $2.424 billion dollars, Southeast Asia as a whole, $3.932 billion dollars, Taiwan, $2.417 billion dollars. They're all rapidly boosting their data analysis capabilities too. It's widespread. Okay, let's shift focus again. South America, an emerging market, but one with really substantial growth potential. This region's data analysis software market is set to increase from $2.972 billion dollars in 2021 all the way up to $11.075 billion dollars by 2033. That's a strong CAGR too, 11.571%. What are the unique drivers behind this significant acceleration in South America?
Well, the growth spurt in South America seems largely tied to the really rapid expansion of e-commerce there and also digital financial services, fintech. As more and more people get internet access, adopt digital payments, which is happening fast, businesses are kind of scrambling for data analysis tools. They need to understand shifting customer behavior online, optimize their sales processes, manage logistics better. So this drives demand for solutions focused specifically on, say, customer analytics, supply chain improvements, and definitely fraud prevention in that growing digital economy.
Makes sense. E-commerce and digital finance paving the way. And looking at the country specifics, Brazil leads the pack, projected for $4.067 billion dollars by 2033. Argentina is set to hit $2.001 billion. Colombia close behind at $1.983 billion. And Peru and Chile are also showing really robust growth in the space heading towards 2033. All right, moving on to the Middle East, we're seeing significant digital acceleration there as well. This market is expanding from $2.453 billion dollars in 2021 up to $9.029 billion dollars by 2033, showing another strong CAGR at 11.454%. What insights can you share about the digital transformation underway in this region?
The Middle East is fascinating because it's undergoing this really profound digital transformation, but it's often driven by ambitious national visions, big government initiatives. Think about massive investments in smart city projects like Neoganis in Saudi Arabia or Dubai's ongoing digital initiatives. So this top-down push creates a huge demand for data analysis software that's tailored for things like urban planning, managing IoT data from sensors everywhere, optimizing public services. Governments and large enterprises are really using these tools to build highly efficient, data-driven ecosystems almost from the ground up. They're prioritizing things like predictive maintenance for critical infrastructure or delivering real-time services to citizens.
So, large scale state driven projects are a big factor, and the 2033 projections highlight some key countries there. Saudi Arabia aiming for $2.525 billion, Turkey at $1.902 billion, the UAE showing strong growth to $1.584 billion, Egypt $1.094 billion, and Qatar $0.741 billion, also projected for significant market expansion. Okay, finally, let's round out our world tour with Africa, a continent with, immense potential in its growing digital landscape. The market here is projected to grow from $1.321 billion in 2021 up to $4.858 billion by 2033. This GAGR is 10.722%, so still double-digit growth. Obviously, there are challenges, infrastructure access, but how is data analysis software finding its footing and driving change across Africa?
Yeah, Africa's data analysis market, it really embodies both incredible potential and unique opportunities alongside those challenges you mentioned. While things like fixed-line infrastructure might lag in some areas, the continent has leapfrogged in many ways with mobile technology. Mobile penetration is huge, and this has led to an absolute explosion of mobile data. That, in turn, is fueling demand for data analysis tools in sectors like mobile finance, M-Pesa being a famous example, but also agriculture, tech, public health. Areas where insights from mobile usage patterns or even basic ground-level data collection analyzed effectively can solve really critical local problems. Think about driving financial inclusion or optimizing scarce resources like water or fertilizer. So the growth figures, even if starting from a smaller base, they underscore this strong belief that data is absolutely key to unlocking economic development and addressing societal needs across the continent.
Mobile first innovation driving demand. That's a key takeaway. And the numbers show that too. Nigeria, for instance, projected to grow to $0.801 billion, and South Africa reaching $1.769 billion by 2033, really leading the way in adoption on the continent. Okay, wow, we've covered a lot of ground, a lot of numbers, regions, growth rates. So let's try and bring it all together. What does this all actually mean for you? Whether you're listening because you need to prep for a meeting, or you're trying to get up to speed on a field that's changing fast, or maybe you're just like us, insanely curious about how the world works.
Yeah, what it all means is, I think, incredibly clear. The data analysis software market isn't just booming. That almost understates it. It's fundamentally reshaping how decisions get made everywhere, from the
Yeah.
biggest boardroom down to, operations on the ground. We're seeing this powerful convergence, AI, cloud computing, those advanced data visualization tools that make complex data understandable. They're all coming together to essentially democratize data analysis, making really sophisticated insights accessible to way more people than ever before. And crucially, this isn't just about collecting more data anymore. We have tons of data. It's about having the tools that empower us to find the complex patterns within that data, make predictions that are actually accurate, and ultimately act on those insights much, much faster than we ever could before. Every country, every single business is now actively trying to leverage data analysis just to navigate this incredibly complex, data-rich world we live in.
Right. So understanding these trends, it's not just about knowing market sizes, it's about recognizing the kind of the foundational layer of modern business and innovation. It really is key to staying informed, staying adaptable in this world that's just becoming more and more data-driven by the day. So as we wrap up this deep dive, maybe here's a final thought to leave you with. Consider this. If data analysis software is increasingly powering smarter decisions all around the globe, what things in our lives, maybe things we previously thought were unquantifiable aspects of society or even personal experience, what might soon become measurable, become analyzable, and ultimately maybe even transformable by these incredibly powerful tools? Something to think about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of data analysis. We really hope you found these insights, these nuggets of knowledge, as interesting and valuable as we did putting them together.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take complex topics, break down the sources, and basically give you the essential insights you need. Today, we're diving deep into the really dynamic world of the global data analysis software market. We're aiming to understand how businesses are actually leveraging data, smarter, faster, and more accurately than they ever could before. And just so you know, our insights for this deep dive, they come straight from a comprehensive report by Cognitive Market Research. That's our source for the facts we'll be exploring.
Yeah, and it's a crucial topic because, while data interpretation isn't just for the tech giants anymore, you'll see that pretty much every industry, from huge retail chains down to your local healthcare provider, they're all dealing with just unprecedented amounts of information. And the need isn't just to collect it, but to actually make sense of it all. That's what's driving these huge shifts we're seeing.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. What's really fueling this incredible growth in data analysis software? The report points to some powerful forces. And the first one, well, it probably won't surprise you. It's just the sheer immense and constantly increasing volume of business data. I mean, it's like a data tsunami, right? You've got organizations across all sorts of industries, retail, healthcare, logistics, finance, you name it. They're all producing these massive volumes of data. It's both structured, like, numbers in a database, and unstructured stuff like customer emails, social media, sensor readings even, all from digital interactions.
That's exactly it. And that sheer volume is precisely why it's such a powerful driver. Companies aren't just letting this data sit there. They're actively relying on these analytics tools to interpret it. And the goal is pretty clear. It's about moving beyond just gut feelings, making smarter, data-backed decisions, optimizing how things run, improving the customer experience. And yeah, even predicting future trends with some real accuracy. I remember hearing about this logistics company, quite large, and they used analytics and found this small but really consistent delay in their routes, costing them millions every year. They probably never have spotted it otherwise. It's those kinds of insights that are, well, pure gold.
That's a perfect example. Okay, and here's where it gets, I think, really interesting. You mentioned smarter decisions.
Hmm.
Is this where artificial intelligence, AI, and machine learning, ML, come in? Does that integration take these platforms to a whole new level? What's the kind of secret sauce there? Is it just about crunching bigger numbers faster?
Absolutely. It's much more than just speed. These advanced technologies, they bring incredible capabilities to the table. Think about predictive modeling, like imagine forecasting next quarter's sales or spotting customers who might be about to leave with pretty startling accuracy. Then you have sophisticated pattern recognition that can help spot, say, emerging customer trends in real time. Or anomaly detection, which is crucial for things like flagging a dodgy transaction the second it happens. And what's really impactful, too, is that AI and ML, they significantly reduce the dependence on human data scientists for some of the more repetitive tasks. So businesses can automate complex analysis, get deeper insights, and do it all much more efficiently. It sort of reshapes the role of the data scientist, really. Less data crunching, more strategic thinking, asking the right questions.
Right, so it's about elevating the human element, not replacing it entirely.
Okay.
And then the report mentions a third major driver,
Yeah.
this global wave of digital transformation and cloud adoption. It feels like everyone and their dog is moving to the cloud these days. How does that connect specifically to data analysis?
They are, yeah. And it's definitely not just a buzzword, it's having a profound impact on how businesses invest in analytics. Think about the flexibility. I mean, a small startup can now potentially access the same kind of analytical power as a huge corporation. These cloud-based tools offer immense scalability. Grow as you need to. Plus, real-time collaboration across teams, easy integration with other business software. It means companies can start small, scale up their data analysis, and they don't need these massive upfront investments in hardware. That fundamentally changes the game, making powerful analytics accessible to almost any business. They're not just nice to haves anymore, they're really essential tools for surviving today.
Okay, so the cloud isn't just a place to store stuff. It's actually enabling totally new ways of working with data, especially for smaller businesses. That makes sense. But, despite all these powerful drivers, all this potential, the journey isn't always smooth sailing, is it? There are significant challenges. So what does this all mean for companies trying to adopt these tools? What are they bumping up against?
Yeah, you've hit on a really critical point there. One of the biggest hurdles, honestly, is just the high cost of implementation and then keeping it running. The report details this. It's not just a one-off purchase. You've got licensing fees, often hefty ones. Then there's extensive training needed for staff. The underlying infrastructure might need upgrades. And then you have continuous updates and maintenance costs. Add all that up, and it creates pretty significant financial barriers, especially for small and mid-sized enterprises, SMEs. They often have tighter budgets, need to see that ROI quicker.
And of course, whenever you're talking about massive amounts of data, especially sensitive data, that big concern looms large. Security and privacy. When you're dealing with financial records, health information, those risks just get amplified, don't they?
They absolutely do, and it's a huge hurdle, no question. With all the sensitive data being processed, the risk of data breaches unfortunately goes up. And this worry, it leads to real hesitation. You see companies holding back from fully adopting, say, third-party or cloud-based analytics tools. They're worried about compliance with strict regulations like GDPR in Europe, HIPAA for health data in the US, CCPA in California. The potential fallout from a breach, reputational damage, huge fines. It often seems to outweigh the benefits for companies that are more
Yeah,
cautious.
the stakes are incredibly high. And then there's another issue, something that seems to pop up in almost any tech discussion these days, the skills gap, the global shortage of skilled professionals.
Yeah.
You can have the fanciest tools in the world, but if you don't have people who really know how to use them, well, what's the point?
Precisely. That's exactly right. And despite all the advances in making dashboards more user-friendly, making things look simpler, the technical complexity under the hood for many of these analytics platforms, it still requires a really high level of expertise. And it's not just knowing which buttons to click. It's about interpreting the results correctly, understanding statistical significance, knowing what questions to even ask the data in the first place. That specialized knowledge isn't always easy to find, in every industry or every part of the world. And that creates a major bottleneck. It slows down adoption, and it means a lot of businesses might have these powerful tools just sitting there kind of underutilized.
Okay, so those are some pretty significant hurdles: cost, security, skills. With those in mind, let's shift gears a bit and look towards the future. What are the exciting trends that are actively shaping this market right now?
The report highlights some really dynamic developments. Let's unpack this. What are the big movements we're seeing? The first one, and maybe not surprisingly given our earlier discussion, is the continued undeniable rise of cloud-based analytics platforms. We talked about cloud as a driver, but it's clearly a massive trend in its own right.
Indeed it is, and they're popular for very good reasons.
Mm.
That flexibility we mentioned, the scalability, and often better cost efficiency compared to building everything on-premise. They basically eliminate the need for companies to manage all that heavy, expensive server infrastructure themselves. So that's a huge plus, especially if you don't have a massive IT department. And it means you can get real-time insights from, well, literally anywhere with an internet connection. That fosters a whole new level of business agility that just wasn't feasible before. It's really transformative stuff. Yeah, that accessibility seems key. And building on that, the report talks about a growing demand for self-service business intelligence, or BI tools. These are tools designed to let kind of anyone turn raw data into useful insights. This sounds like it could really change how teams operate day to day.
Oh, it's having a massive impact. A profound impact, really. These platforms empower users who aren't necessarily tech experts, think people in marketing or sales, maybe even HR, to run their own reports, ask their own questions of the data, visualize it, and they can do it without constantly needing to go through the IT department and wait in a queue. This whole idea of the democratization of analytics is fundamentally changing how decisions get made, right across different departments. Imagine like a sales team lead. Instead of waiting potentially weeks for IT to generate a report, they can just, click a few buttons and instantly see which products are maybe lagging in a certain region. They can then pivot their strategy almost immediately. It's like giving everyone their own mini data scientist.
Uh-huh. I like that, a mini data scientist in your pocket. That captures it perfectly. Okay, and finally, the report highlights a strong focus on real-time analytics and also embedded BI. It sounds like it's about taking those data insights out of separate dashboards and putting them right where people are actually doing their work. Is that the idea?
That's exactly it. Companies are increasingly embedding these analytical capabilities directly into the operational tools people use every day. So think analytics inside your CRM system, or embedded in supply chain management software, or even appearing right on a factory floor dashboard. And the benefit, it enables much faster, much more context-aware decision-making. Real-time analytics is especially critical in areas like, say, fraud detection every second counts there, or logistics where optimizing a delivery route on the fly can save significant time and money. Even customer support, imagine an agent immediately seeing a customer's full history and potential issues the moment they call. It can turn a bad experience into a good one. In these situations, timing really is everything. A delay could mean a lost customer, a missed opportunity, or even significant financial loss.
Okay, so bringing this all together then, it really feels like the global data analysis software market is right at the absolute heart of this digital revolution we're all living through. With AI, the cloud, real-time capabilities all advancing so rapidly. It seems businesses that really figure out how to harness these tools are the ones poised for smarter growth, for deeper customer engagement. It's a fundamental shift.
Exactly. That's the potential. But, and it's an important but, to fully realize that potential, overcoming those significant challenges we discussed, the costs, the security worries, and that crucial skills gap that's going to be absolutely essential, that's what's needed for broader adoption and for companies, big and small, to truly thrive in this data-driven future.
It really makes you think. As we consider all these advancements, it begs the question, doesn't it? If data really is the new oil, how effectively are we actually building the infrastructure and, maybe more importantly, the human expertise to truly refine and utilize it? And what happens to the businesses that fall behind in this race? Some to consider.